Amber Heard. The attacks on Depp continue. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Nearly 2 years ago, there was the fascinating litigation between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. It was certainly the case that Johnny Depp was supported in the court of social media, where many people saw that Amber Heard was the problem. This result was also borne out in court, where, after hearing the evidence, the jury found in favour for Depp. I undertook a fantastic analysis of what was going on during that trial, events thereafter, but also principally to help you understand what Amber Heard is and what Johnny Depp is. These videos, which received many views and extensive commentary, provided an excellent example of distinguishing between the two types of behaviour where both individuals have been accused of abusing the other. If you haven't watched those videos, I'd encourage you to do so to understand the outcome of what they are. The outcome, if you already know, and if you don't want to know, stop this video and go and watch them now, was to find that Johnny Depp's narcissistic but not a narcissist, meaning that he does have emotional empathy, although it's limited, and he has strong narcissistic traits with some empathic traits, and that Amber Heard is a narcissist. Having made this determination as to what she is, this then enables us to understand more of why she behaved as she did and what she had done thereafter. It's also the case that there appears to be further strands that still run on from that trial. And something that has just recently come my way is a piece from Vice TV, which you might describe as a Johnny Depp hit piece. What is it? Well, it's a narrative where Elaine Bredehoft, who you'll remember was Amber Heard's lawyer and may still well be, does a piece to camera about what went on. And astonishingly, notwithstanding what the jury found as a consequence of hearing the evidence, she still does not accept that outcome, but actually blames Amber Heard's defeat on the public. Yes, quite interesting. In the excerpt that's shown, Elaine Bredehoft talks about how Depp had cultivated a fan base and how that fan base that adored Depp unconditionally and how that fan base would blame whoever he'd done something wrong to say, actually, it's their fault that they asked for it. Now, I'm not going to provide you with the exact clip for you to view, but what I am going to do is to allow you to hear what Elaine Bredehoft actually says. So if you pin back your ears, you'll be able to hear what she has to say in this particular excerpt.
He developed this fan base that just adores him unconditionally. They will blame whoever he might have done something wrong to. It's their fault, they asked for it. Well, Amber, what did you do to cause him to hit you? You must be the bad person here. And that's the way they thought. About 95% of the social media wasn't just anti-Amber, it was with a purpose to annihilate Amber. There's no way she could have survived this. There's no way anyone could have survived this.
Now, that's just a section from the programme. But what's interesting is that this is demonstrative of the way that a narcissist is able to cause someone to accept their narrative. The purpose of a lawyer is, of course, to act in the best interests of their client. But in so doing, what is important for that lawyer to do is objectively assess the circumstances of that client's case and advise them accordingly. You're not there to be a hired gun who is immediately to suggest, yes, you've got a brilliant case, you're absolutely right. The lawyer should test the evidence. They should determine, is what I'm being told accurate? Does it stand up to scrutiny? Does it fit, for instance, with other records? So, for instance, my client's testimony, does it sit with what the documentation shows or what recordings show? And if not, what's the explanation? That evidence should be tested and probed so that the lawyer provides objective advice on the prospects of success to the relevant client. Elaine Bredehoft clearly believed her client. But then, as the evidence came out, it was evident that the jury did not. And yet, she continues to believe that not only was Amber Heard the victim in all of this, that somehow Johnny Depp was guilty for cultivating a fan base. And then Elaine Bredehoft comes along and essentially says, Depp's fans said that violence is okay towards Amber Heard because she deserved it. Talk about putting words in somebody's mouth. Amber Heard's lies were not believed. Amber Heard's stories were not accepted by the jury. What Amber Heard said, and we all watched the evidence, was contradicted. Many people, perfectly capable of forming a view, didn't believe her evidence. What actually went against Amber Heard was her own performance. Perhaps, if she hadn't given any form of testimony, she might have succeeded. But of course, a narcissist and a mid-range narcissist that is Amber Heard always wants to be heard. And this goes back to the principle of give the narcissist enough rope. Do watch the video of that name. And thus, notwithstanding the fact that people were able to see on the evidence that Amber Heard's behaviour was such that she was the one that was lying and she had abused Johnny Depp, her own lawyer can't accept this. Now, it might be one thing for the lawyer to think, well, privately, I think that he is going to succeed, but this person, and I've advised them that they're at risk, still wants me to represent them. I will do my level best to get the result for them. That's fair enough. You've advised them objectively and told them, I think you're more likely to lose. Your evidence is not going to believe. But it would appear that Elaine Bredehoft has very much drank the Kool-Aid when it comes to Amber Heard, because she seems to have lost her objectivity. Not only in terms of what she probably advised her, but it goes further than that. That she now is participating in something which is basically saying, I still maintain that Amber Heard is innocent of what went on, and that Johnny Depp is the bad guy here. Why is it that it matters so much to Elaine Bredehoft? Is it the case that she has become brainwashed by her client into believing not only is Depp the baddie in all of this, but it's necessary for her to appear on a programme by Vice and continue the attacks against Depp? Could it well be that Elaine Bredehoft has become a lieutenant of Amber Heard? Naturally, Amber Heard will continue to maintain that she is the victim because her narcissism tells her that. But Elaine Bredehoft is an example of somebody who ought to really know better, somebody who has years of experience in the law, who ought to be used to treating the evidence in an objective fashion, and then walking away from the case thereafter. But instead, she continues to advocate for Amber Heard, but goes further than that by basically turning around and blaming all of you who supported Johnny Depp. You are the problem, because you apparently all said that the violence towards Heard was okay because she deserved it. Thus, it would appear that Elaine Bredehoft has become a lieutenant of Amber Heard that is issuing a further smear campaign against Johnny Depp by suggesting that he has somehow cultivated a fan base of deranged lunatics that suggests that actually it's okay to be violent towards women because at the end of the day, they deserve it. So there we are. Completely distorting what people's views were, failing to recognise that many of them formed a view after consideration of the evidence and what they were seeing. Yes, there are some people who were ride-or-die Depp supporters who, even if it had gone against him, wouldn't have accepted it. You'll always find those. But here we have an example of an individual who really ought to know better, that has found herself in the position of becoming the narcissist lieutenant to enable the continuing attacks against Johnny Depp. And it's an interesting way for you to see just how someone, clearly an intelligent woman, an experienced attorney, has become brainwashed by her own client and her client's cause into continuing that cause against Johnny Depp. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.